Hello, and welcome to the first episode of Beyond Technology and Innovation. In this episode, I had the privilege of having a very special guest on my show, and his name is Sairaj Dhond. He's a very exciting entrepreneur from India, from the state of Goa. Goa is where I grew up too, so we have a very special connection. He has a very exciting company. It's called Wakao Foods, and he has taken jackfruit, which is a very staple fruit in Goa, and converted that into exciting food preparations, ranging from jackfruit sausages to jackfruit burger patty and whatnot. He he supplies these to various hotel chains across the globe. He has expanded beyond India. He has presence across the globe now. He appeared in the first season of Shark Tank. One thing I learned from the conversation which I had with Sairaj is his his passion for building a company and a brand is unmatched. The amount of energy which he has is awesome, and it's infectious. So let's dive in. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Beyond Technology and Innovation. This is a podcast which talks about innovation, technology, entrepreneurship, but more importantly, it focuses on the human side of things. It's an exercise to learn from journey of successful entrepreneurs, innovators, and be able to share this knowledge with everybody, right? And I'm really excited today that the first podcast is starting today, and we have a very special guest from who has a very special connection with me. We both are from the same state of Goa, and like without further ado, I'd like to introduce you all to none other than Sairaj Dhond. We all know him from Shark Tank. So welcome Sairaj to the show.
Thanks, Rohan. Thank you so much for having me over. It's a pleasure.
So for uh, people who don't know Sairaj, why don't you just start by quickly introducing yourself? Tell us about yourself, your background, and what you do.
Uh, Hi, everyone. I'm Sairaj Dhond, the founder and CEO of Wakao Foods. We are India's first jackfruit company. We make products from jackfruit. We make plant-based products using the superfood jackfruit. We do things like sausages, burgers, burger patties. We have gravy products like the butter jack, barbecue. We have raw jack cut in different variants. So we started late, somewhere in December 2020. It's been a little over 3 years, and we've tried to take this innovation to the whole of India and to different parts of the world. We've successfully exported to 5 countries up till now. We have a pan-India presence today. Me personally, I'm a lawyer by education. I'm a lawyer turned entrepreneur. I practiced hardcore criminal law for a year before I took the plunge into entrepreneurship. I did three other ventures before starting Wakao Foods, which is my fourth venture now. And yes, slowly but surely, it's growing and taking different steps across the world.
Excellent. Thanks for the introduction, Sairaj. And we have a lot to unpack here. So, first of all, you're very well known for your Shark Tank fame. Pretty much the whole country knows you probably now. How are you dealing with this, fame which you've got after Shark Tank?
So, I always told people that I had a life pre Shark Tank and a life post Shark Tank. So, life actually changed completely once it came at 9 p.m. that night on TV, and things went a little berserk. And it was different. We are just normal people who live here, and we've never seen something like we've never seen celebrity fame or that kind of, people looking at you and wanting to click pictures with you and all of that. Um, it came along with Shark Tank. People started recognizing us. There was a good feel good factor wherever I went. But one thing I realized very quickly that this is all temporary. This will come and will quickly go. And what we need to do is stay focused and stay very balanced in what we want to do. Another thing that I really understood is that this is a great opportunity. It is a once in a lifetime opportunity that people would get. And as a brand owner, my whole aim was to how to increase the longevity of these eyeballs that we are getting. So with our social media campaigns, with how I go about with my normal day-to-day routines, my aim was always forget the so the, you feel nice that people know you and they want to click pictures with you and all of that. You feel nice about it, but there's a much bigger responsibility beyond that, and that is to keep the whole buzz alive for the brand. And when you're building a consumer facing brand, you want to keep that going. You want that momentum going, and we just ran campaigns on that sort. Our social media is very organic. We try to keep it organic, but we don't let people forget that we want Shark Tank, and that is something that is a recall that remains. So if you see me going anywhere, I'm always wearing my company branded t-shirts, I have hoodies, and I'll always you see I'm like a walking, talking postcard of Wakao. And that's because I want to keep that whole recall alive. I want people not to forget our pitch. So our pitch has around 4 to 4.5 million views on YouTube. And that's big, and it gives you instant penetration into a country like India, which is otherwise very difficult to get through.
Mhm.
And Shark Tank was a show which not just triggered the elite and the city goers, but everyone across, even rural India, was watching the show because it was an aspirational show. And we came in season 1, and season 1 is always, the
Yeah,
first season is always remembered. Post that, whatever comes, it's good, but the first season remains iconic and people remember you. And that we were blessed to be there, and we only every day try to keep that buzz going and keep it going for the brand. So that helps.
absolutely. I mean, I can see the passion in your voice and the way you bring the brand. I mean, for a consumer centric brand, I think that's very, very important, right? And you really do justice to it. But tell me a little bit, how did Shark Tank happen? So just tell me a little bit of the pre-story.
So I had an agency which whom I used to work from Gurgaon, and on one of our review calls, the founder of that company, Varun, he once said, "That's Shark Tank India, right?" No, and I didn't know about it, but till then. So season 1, there was not too much buzz about it initially before it came on, and but Shark Tank is something we've all heard and grown up watching. So I instantly sent me the link, and I instantly applied. It was a one pager. In a few days, I got another email saying that you've qualified for the next round. Then there was a 5 pager. I filled that. And there was another, after that, another email came that you've qualified for the next round. Now there's a 15 pager. And it was a very detailed form that we have to fill, and we have to do a 3 minute pitch, record it, and send it to them on email. Post that, we were selected for the next personal interview round, and that was in Bombay. So you could choose one of the locations. I went to Bombay, and there we were interviewed by the Sony team. And it was again we were mic'd up, and there were cameras all around, and there they asked us different questions. It was more of they wanted to check whether we were suited for TV, for the camera, and it was that kind of a thing. The questions also were like that because by now they had already identified which startups they want. In India, there are so many startups. In season 1, there were close to 85,000 startups that were there, which had applied.
Mhm.
So after that, the top 200 was selected for the final TV round, which for which we went to Bombay. It was in Film City. So again, that experience was crazy. Never entered Film City, never entered a state before, and it was like KBC was being shot there, Dance India, Dance here, and Shark Tank was there. It was massive. So when I went there, when I went on set, there were like 35 cameras everywhere. It's something that I never experienced in my life before. But fortunately, or whatever, I like the camera. I like the stage. I like the big occasion. So I was pretty comfortable. I won't say I was not nervous. Everyone is a human. We have those butterflies, but it went well. And post that around a month's time, yeah, couple of months, uh, it came on TV. So
Yeah,
there was that space, and then after that, things changed.
yeah, absolutely great. Uh, so there is, as you said, there is post Shark Tank, there is pre Shark Tank. Let's talk about a little bit of the pre Shark Tank, because I know that entrepreneurs actually go through a journey which, and only people remember the good days. Nobody remembers the tough days, right? So tell me a little bit before, like what kind of business you were running, what was what led to Wakao, things. So a little bit of that story.
So when I quit law, that was an overnight decision. I realized that I was not enjoying it. I was not meant for it. So I just overnight, one night, I said, I'm not doing this from tomorrow. And I quit law and I sat at home to decide what next to do. And this is about 12, 13 years ago. And I'm
Okay.
telling you. So then I joined my family business, which is the hotels in Goa. I lasted there exactly for 6 months. I was not great at taking orders, and I wanted to do different things. I had different ideas in my mind. Sometimes family businesses are set in a particular way, and you don't want to disturb that as well. So then
Mhm.
I moved out and I started my first venture, and that was into solars, solar water heating, solar lighting solutions. So I started doing that. See, when I left law, the next thing was that I had just one aim in my mind, and that was to build a brand. I always only wanted to build a brand that would be called proudly made in Goa, made in India, and will go to the world. That was the aim. I didn't know what the product was, but I knew that I wanted to make a brand. So it was always like that. So when I started my solar company, I thought I'll build a solar brand which will go everywhere because it was very futuristic then. So 10, 12 years back, solar was futuristic. No one had really seen the true potential of it. And I started and I was doing it, but then I realized Goa was not a great market for it because we had a lot of sun, a lot of rainfall in Goa, and was an expensive, capital intensive business. So I thought this is not scalable. So then I started my next venture that was into lighting. So I started doing LED lights. And again, LED lights was something which was new then and coming in a big way. So I thought I'll build a brand like Panasonic, my own brand, get from China, market, sell. I started doing it. I became a distributor for two companies. I started selling a lot. And that's when I realized again that lighting was getting commoditized. There was a lot of junk coming in from China and it was getting very cheap and easy and accessible. I thought it's pointless competing with all of these guys. Let's look at something else. So then the third venture came up, and that was a very unique kind of real estate project. So I
Mhm.
bought an old villa, old heritage home, 100-year-old house in a village in Goa, completely restored it, and then I resold it. So this we made some money. We sold this for around 8.5 crore Indian rupees, and we got some money out of it. But it took around 3.5 years of my life. So that my youth and my chunk of those 3.5 years went into one project. And by that time, I was around 20. I was around almost 29, 29, yeah, 29, 30. And I realized that this is not something which is sustainable, taking so much out in one project. So then I was looking at doing a real estate project with smaller ticket sizes, around a 200 apartments housing project. And I was going to sign. And that's when COVID happened and
Yeah.
everything came to a standstill. It was early 2020, around February or so, and I said, "This is now it's unpredictable. You never knew what would happen to the real estate market. Why take the risk of taking such a big
Mhm.
challenge?" So I said, "Let's wait and see what happens, how time passes." That's when I started looking for new options. Now I had some money. I had sold my previous project, and I was looking at what next to do. And I realized that food was something that was critical. And during COVID, you realize that it became a necessity. All the
Mhm.
others were luxury. This became a necessity. And I thought if something in that, if we could do something there, but I still didn't know what. I was still dabbling with different things like kokum, which is a native to Goa, native fruit, and
Mhm.
mango. I was thinking, what can be done? And that's when I came across one article. It was a video article by Palki Sharma Upadhyay. And she was that time for Beyond she used to work. And now she's with First Post. And the headline of that thing was the new superfood of the world, jackfruit. And that really got me thinking that because you would also know jackfruit literally grows here in our backyard, it falls, it rots, no one even cares. And suddenly, not India, but the world was calling it a superfood. So I went deeper into it. I started researching, reading a little more. Research, matlab, I was reading a little more, so why this is being called a jackfruit, why it's called a superfood, and then I realized that this is not jackfruit; it's a jackpot. And I was, for the first time in my life, introduced to these concepts of veganism, mock meats. I didn't know any of this, and I thought that there was an opportunity. No one in India was doing it, and this is the opportunity to build a brand. We can do that. This is a great product, and that's how it all started. And then one thing led to another. I started looking for people who could do it for me. We did a few trials, we did some tests. Then I found someone in Kerala who had the machinery to do this. I flew to Kerala to a interior village called Thaliparampa in Kannur and did some trials there. Then I came back, took a chef from here. We did some trials there, took him there. We did trials there again in small batches, tried innovating, got new products. And within 10 months, we were from idea to product. We won shelves in Goa. The first cut of the products wasn't great like it normally would be. We were getting feedback, we understood what people were saying, how they're saying, and we kept on innovating, kept on improving. Uh, the journey went started from there, and because our branding was bang on, that is something that I'm good at. I understand that well, and that worked for us. We had a good PR across India, and the product was so innovative. It was so new that everybody was taking notice of it. So also they probably wouldn't have tried our product, but they knew our story. So that gained momentum, that gained strength, and in the fact we were trying to improve. We kept improving the product, kept taking feedback, and it is a journey. And then because it's such a new thing, it was such an innovation. It was that much tougher to actually penetrate the market and get people to try and understand which is the target audience. That itself took a lot of time for me to understand where to sell. We had this product, but we didn't know where to sell. Like who was our target audience? It was all very new. I'm a law graduate. We had no big MBAs and IIT, IIM guys with us to help us and guide us. So it was actually spray and pray. We were trying, we were selling here also, we're selling here also, we're selling here also, and seeing where it's holding on. And then finally we realized that we got our channel, which was Horeca. We realized that the brand had got its branding, but we need to do sales, we need to sell, we need people to try, and we need customer affirmation, that this is a good product. And how do you do that? It's best done when you go to restaurants and tell the chefs, because chefs have worked with something like this.
Mm-hmm.
Tell them, you make it and give it to your consumers, then give us feedback. And once that feedback started coming out well, this is working. And then we realized that there was a 90% repeat with Horeca. So now our aim is to build that channel as a cash cow and to go very hard with that. And the brand, to build the brand, we are working on other things that will happen simultaneously.
Absolutely. I mean, I can so much relate to this because as a Goan, as you said, everybody's backyard has a jackfruit tree. In their farms, we have jackfruit tree.
Yeah.
Jackfruit is not never a shortage in Goa, right? And a tropical climate, and you really hit that jackpot. Meaning, it was just in your backyard, as you say, right?
And then we
So
ignore that's closest to us.
correct, absolutely. And I think the potential is completely unlimited because if you travel around the world, there is right now very less awareness of such foods. So the upside of this for the next few years, decades, is probably unlimited. Like
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah.
So what is, I mean, how do you want to take this brand? You started in Goa, now you have presence in India. Where all are you present today, and what is your expansion plan at this point?
So in India, we have around 5 distributors right now. So we didn't go very aggressively till now because we were trying to figure out where we want to go aggressively. We didn't want to go in a wrong direction aggressively. So now we've kind of understood where what we want to do. So we're going to grow across India very quickly and across territories and geographies very quickly because we see the potential, we see the market, and we know where it is. Now we need to get there. So that's for the Indian market. But the bigger picture, according to me, for the kind of category that we're building is the international market. So internationally, today we are very strong and we have a good presence in Singapore. We have a good distributor there. We're selling there quite consistently with quantities increasing order after order. We've finalized. We had a distributor in Dubai. We've just stopped that and finalized a new Horeca distributor who's concentrating on that. So probably by the end of this month or early next month, we will have a very strong presence in Dubai as well, and that will take us to the other parts of the UAE and GCC region. We've sent an entire container to the US last year, which is there and which is moving there. But the US market is massive, and that's one market that we are like really, really trying, and we are really bullish about, and we're trying very hard to penetrate further. And we're looking at good partners for that region. We've sent consignments to Norway and Netherlands in the past, but these have been small consignments through merchant exporters. We are now talking to some distributors from Netherlands, and I see a great opportunity in the European region as well. So that's very big. So the idea is to get to more and more countries. There are so many countries in the world. The idea is to get there, and because one thing I've realized that our category right now doesn't have vertical growth. So you won't have one customer who will buy a lot of stuff from us. It's not like a ready product which has a ready category which people are buying. It's something, it's a
Mhm.
category creation game. So we have to go horizontal, and we have to go very quickly horizontally. And we'll have customers we'll have to have many customers who buy little from us. And then the
Mhm.
quantity will organically grow. It's not something that will tomorrow grow massively. So I understand that it's a patient game that we are playing, and we are trying to grow horizontally very quickly across regions. So that's the first aim. Uh, the second big thing that the company is looking at doing, and again, I'm very bullish about this, and I think this will work, take us into a different trajectory, is we are looking at starting our own QSR. So when I was telling you that we have different channels to build our brand. So the
Mhm.
one channel was to build it through modern trade and to build to the traditional retail route. But that route, one, is very expensive. It's a very challenging route. There are too many players. They're crowded. The category is very new. A lot of money will go in education and trying to tell people. So what I realized is that uh, in a food product, especially, which is not a heat and eat, you have to, if you have to cook it and you give it to someone to cook it, it would differ from your cooking skills from person to person.
Mhm.
So if you take just our sausages, and you're a great cook and I'm not, the final product that you would come out with would be way better than the what I would come out with. It's the same product, the base product, but it's based on your cooking skills and what you understand.
Mhm.
So again, then the product gets blamed. So what we've decided is, instead of giving you the sausage, which we will also offer you, we will first give you the hot dog, and we'll tell you, first try this, which we've made, and you'll like it, and then probably you'll want to take it home and make something like that for yourself. And the QSR has a great, if it works well, if it does well, it can be scaled very well and very quickly. And there is no limitation to only India or any other place. It can go global. So that's the idea. That's the aim right now. Never know. It may work, it may not, but we'll try.
No, I mean, definitely. I mean, things will work out. It's all about experimenting and being very persistent and passionate, and which you already have, right? I've heard a few things. I'm not on not done much research on what you guys sell, but I've heard you guys have a biryani dish and you guys have few exciting dishes. So can you tell us what are some of the uh, dishes which you guys have, and
Yeah. So
what
the
people
products,
like?
so we have two variants of sausages. We are the first people in the world to make sausages from jackfruit. So we have a hot and spicy, which is a little Indian taste spicy sausage, and we have an American herb sausage, which is the more cheesy variant. We have a burger patty, which is really nice. So we've dabbled with many burger patties in the last, and we've now come up with this one burger patty, which we feel is really bang on and it's good. Then we have gravies. We have a butter jack. Like, butter chicken is the national dish of UK also. Everyone knows butter chicken. This is the take of butter chicken. It's a butter jack, butter chicken gravy in with jackfruit chunks. Then we had a barbecue jack. We have a teriyaki jack. But these two are just for the export market. We don't use it in the Indian
Okay.
market. We have raw jackfruit cut and processed in different sizes and shapes. So we have a soft raw jack, which is like a shredded one, like pulled pork. We have
Mhm.
a chunkier one, which is more of pieces, which go in biryanis and in gravies. We have a minced variant, which is like a keema. So it's like a ready minced jackfruit variant. And we have cubes, which are like those tikka cubes that you get
Mhm.
for good ones. So yeah, so these four variants we supply in retail as well as industrial packaging. Now the biryani that you're talking about is one of our new developments. It's almost ready. The R&D is almost done, and this is a heat and eat product. So you'll get it in a packet. Just put it in the microwave, remove it, and eat it. So all these products, the USP of our products are that they have a 1 year shelf life. They require zero preservatives, and they do not have, and it's an ambient product. No refrigeration
Okay.
required.
You don't have to refrigerate it.
No, this is all ambient.
Oh, great, great. And how are you scaling? What are the what have been the challenges in scaling it? Because for you to be able to deliver so much, you have to scale your operations, you have to scale your R&D. Are you finding talent? How are you managing all that?
Uh, so the one thing that we were, like I said, was understanding where to scale. Now that we've understood where we want to scale, the challenge was because I'm a bootstrap company. We haven't raised funding as yet. So even on Shark Tank, we took the funding on the show, but we came out and then did take it. So I still own 100% of my company.
Yeah.
We're now going to be looking at raising around, but we had to first understand where to sell. Now that we've understood, we need good talent, and hiring talent in Goa sometimes can be a little difficult because, and especially when you want talent on in sales, because that's a skill which too many Goans don't really possess. Pan India sales, it's a different ball game altogether. Especially when you're selling a specialty food, it's not a run of the mill product. It's something where you need it has different challenges where you need to explain, show the chef, explain to the chef, get it through. So that's something that we are going to now expand through a distribution network with food soldiers, with people on the ground, with a good sales team. We've recently hired a very, very experienced VP for national sales, and he brings in experience for almost 25 years. So that's something that we were really looking forward to because I'm a firm believer that the people that we hire should be smarter than us. And unfortunately, for the longest time, I was the smartest person in the company, which is not a good thing. So now we're getting people with much more experience and who have seen the market, who know the market. So we are going very hard on that front. With on the front on the exports front, what we're actually doing, and as a strategy we're doing that is we are looking at working with more and more consultants, food brokers, consultants who already have relationships across the world, rather than me trying to go and reinvent the wheel, which is very, very difficult, which can take years. Uh, there are people who already are exporting. They're called merchant exporters. You can call them whatever you want. There are consultants who do the matchmaking, who take you from here and have buyers there ready who want these products. So I think that's the route that we are taking, and we are also open to collaborating with many more people and trying to reach out because only through collaborations you can grow quickly and you can forge relationships. If you try to do everything yourself, it's going to be crazy and it's not possible. So that's the front we are trying to scale on the exports front. On the Wakao Eats, that is our QSR front. That's the third vertical. We are now looking at tying up and partnering with a very big, a good company from India who's already in the QSR business, and they're really interested in coming along to operate the QSR. So that's something that's a conversation that's on, and we're looking at getting in that area. Yeah.
Okay. Great, great. Uh, the fact that you have, I think probably a lot of people will be surprised that you have not raised capital. Probably everybody must be thinking that you raised capital. So so obviously now you're raising. So that would be uh, a great thing for you because you already built the brand. So hopefully you can get a much higher valuation, as is what I hope. And I think fundraising itself it's a journey, but
Yeah,
if you have bootstrapped so far and been able to build the brand, I mean, hats off to you. I think congratulations on that.
it's tough.
um
It's fun also.
yeah, absolutely. So I think building a brand or a company out of Goa, or like what we call is tier 2 cities, right? It's always a challenge. Like, what would you advice for people or entrepreneurs or founders who are looking to build businesses out of such cities, or
So I'll tell you one thing very honestly, Arvind. Probably I started my journey in a time which was very uncertain. And actually, during that phase, things changed dramatically. Even with the whole social media and going online and remote working, and all of this changed dramatically after COVID and during COVID. And that's when we launched. So I think, that actually has changed the game for a lot of brands. And therefore, it's much easier than before, like pre-COVID and pre the boom of the digital boom. It was very difficult to start brands from tier 2 cities. But today, it's not that difficult. If you honest tell you, give you an honest answer, it is not that difficult. Yes, there are a huge number of pluses if you are based in the metros or if you're based in a Bombay or a Delhi or a Bangalore. But there are also a lot of pluses of being based out of Goa or a tier two city where the quality of life is so much better and all of that. But more than anything, I think it's on how you are positioning the brand, how strategically how you're working. Because today there's a big expansion. Something interesting is coming out of any corner of India. Everyone wants to talk about it. So the startup scene is becoming so huge today in India that there are so many magazines, there are so many journalists, there are so many people who are accelerators who are just waiting and looking for something interesting. They want to write, talk about something interesting. Now it is up to that entrepreneur how you get into their eyes. How do you get there? And a platform like LinkedIn today is something where which can, if you just effectively learn certain tools and certain ways of doing things, that line has today is getting blurred of being in a tier two or tier three and being in a metro. There are some amazing brands coming out from tier two cities and no one really cares. And today, when I say that I'm from Goa and the brand is from Goa, it actually gives me more eyeballs than saying that I'm a brand from Bombay. So, people are so much more thrilled that I Goa. That's the first even you would have experienced that. The first thing when you go and where are you from? Goa. Goa. It's that
Yeah,
first
we see it a lot, especially being a tech company. Like, okay, there are engineers you have in Goa. It's like, yeah, we do have engineers. And do they work also? I say they do work also. They don't always drink and sit on the beach.
Correct. But those are notions, and those are things that people think of. But today it's changing. Today you see there are so many companies that are setting up in Goa, and especially tech companies which are moving here and they are setting base here. So things have changed for Goa also. But I'm a firm believer that not leaving Goa and going anywhere. Unlike you, you have gone to better pastures in the US. But for me, and my business also doesn't demand that, and I need to move somewhere. But I wouldn't want to leave this place and go anywhere. My head office will always be set up here. We may have branch offices across wherever we need to go, wherever the need demands. But because it's a much more peaceful place to live in and to work from, and even teams can actually concentrate and work better here. Although the market is all across, this is not our market per se. Like we don't do great business in Goa. But yes, we are a Goan company, and that's our X factor,
No,
like you, and that's something that works for
I mean,
us.
I can completely relate, because Goa is home for us, right? Nothing can beat that. I mean, I came back to Goa, but business took me back here. So,
Yeah.
given a choice, yeah, always would want to be in Goa. So, one final, I think it is really great learning about you. I think we have met so many times, but we haven't had such a detailed conversation before,
Deep
and
dive conversation.
I really got to learn a lot. I think one final thought, if you have to give, just as an entrepreneur, right, for new entrepreneurs, like what would it be? Like just one advice.
So the only advice that I always give, and I think, is that the cornerstone of entrepreneurship is perseverance. You need to be. Sometimes you need to believe in your gut. You need to be a little fearless, and you just need to keep persevering that idea. And that thing. There will be times which will come, which will be devastating. You'll feel that getting up tomorrow will be very difficult. There are so many things happening, and especially I say this because I know there are different challenges as a funded company, but as a bootstrap company also it's so tough. It's like every day is survival. uh, but if you keep persevering, some new window will open. If you believe in that idea and you know what you're doing, you have people believing in you, your team believes, and you have a vision. But the steps are tough. Keep persevering, because if one window closes, there'll be another one which will open. And this is the first thing that I want to say. And the second thing is that as a founder, you need to be very on nimble feet. You need to be very light. You need to be ready to pivot. You can't be very rigid and very strong. The other day, I shared a post on Instagram where they're showing that how the first version of so many companies that came out today, there's something else completely. Their first versions was something else. So you can't be rigid. If you see change, if you see the need for change, move and keep innovating and keep trying to do things. I think that's the only.
Great, Sairaj. Thanks. It was a very great, good advice for entrepreneurs. And thanks for coming on the show. We learned a
Pleasure.
lot. I
Thank you
would
so
like
much.
to wish you really all the best, your brand to become global and have unlimited success. Thanks,
Thank
Sairaj.
you. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Thank you.